having before you, starting with the Planning Board and then Board of Adjustments, ABC Board, TDA, and BRAC, a listing of names along with the number of positions that are currently up. So for the Planning Board, there are 3 positions. For the Board of Adjustments, there's 2 full-time positions and then 2 alternate. ABC is 1, TDA is 1, which is the at-large, and then BRAC is 1 also. So what you have before you is a listing of names. The reason they're duplicated and on your paper is in case we have to go back for a tiebreaker. So essentially vote beside the name of the individual that you're wishing to put in the positions on the board that are up currently. So 3 for Planning Board, 2 for Board of Adjustments, full-time, 2 alternates, 1 ABC, 1 TDA, 1 BRAC. From there, we will tally the votes. If there's a tiebreaker, we have 2 options. One would be obviously the mayor breaking that tie. The second would be redistributing back out the list and allowing you to check the tiebreaker, which is why it's duplicated, or in this case, I think there's 3 options there.
You're hoping we'll do it in 3.
And guys, I've got the Board of Adjustments, ABC, TDA, and BRAC, which I'll pass out as you complete those, okay?
Okay.
Pass them down toward Hillary, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Don't want y'all.
Couldn't see it without my glasses anyway.
Good one.
Albert, are you putting a name on yours?
Am I?
Yeah. Put your name on.
Under the threat of what?
I'll let you know when he passes his down.
You get it?
I don't want to say anything, but I think Al's eating your Tootsie Rolls.
Oh, he stole my Tootsie Rolls.
I'll give, I can't eat these things.
Yours
anyway.
back.
Give them to David. Would you?
Okay, Albert.
Here you go, Dave.
Take, all right.
I'll trade it.
This is Board of Adjustments.
That's Albert's.
Sorry. And again, Board of Adjustments, we're looking for 4 total, 2 full-time and 2 alternate members.
Shame.
So we'll put an FT or an M alternate beside it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, F for full-time,
Okay.
A for alternate would be appropriate.
The only
That's
thing
really gonna confuse
that's
me.
hard here, and correct me on this, which you probably need to. Without tallying and finding out who won on the planning board, we could be voting for the same people over and over and over.
Certainly,
At
we
least
can-
if we go ahead and do what the planning board is, we know who to take off our
point.
list
Yes.
before going on.
Because of that, it's gonna be Wes Carter, Bill McCarter, and Pete Page.
Who?
Pete Page.
That's the 30.
Who is the second one? Bill
Wes
McCarter.
Carter, Bill McCarter,
Okay.
and Pete Page.
Okay.
Great.
So you can remove those folks from your potential Board of Adjustments list, if you choose to do so.
We get another ballot? We get another
Well,
ballot
that
for
leaves
that?
5, right?
Or is that,
That's,
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
that's who it is?
that's who it is.
Okay.
Do we need to put an A if we're voting alternate?
Yeah. And a
Okay.
full if it's a full.
Okay.
Is it not normally up to the board to determine who the alternate is?
Don't forget to put your name on it.
Okay,
Your next one is
okay.
Wait a minute.
a little simpler.
The ABC Board, I'll be passing down to you. This one's a toughie,
Yeah.
okay?
One position for ABC Board.
If we have to send that one back out, we got a problem.
Who'd she say for the planning board? Wes?
These are the applicants. These are applicants for planning board.
For the record, the expiring terms of the planning board were David Harwood, Don Hubble, and Wes Carter.
Said somebody been back.
Board of Adjustments, the expiring terms was Lauren Carter,
Oh,
Charles Bunky DeVant,
David Harwood's on.
Lance Campbell, and we had a vacant spot.
that should be it.
Susie Green is the current expiring term or position for the ABC board.
Hey Doug, you still working on ABC?
No,
Okay.
No, he's right. He's right.
All right, this is TDA board, guys.
TDA board, we have one position open, which is the at-large position. Current position is filled by Lance Campbell. You have 8 names in front of you.
You just need one?
Just need one.
Good luck.
So we need to wait for Board of Adjustment. Some of these are on Board of Adjustment.
Yeah, just a second.
Okay.
Did, what she said for the planning board, was that the elected?
It is. That's who's
Who
elected.
did she say?
Wes Carter, Bill McCarter,
Yeah,
and Pete Page.
no, and I think we've had people on 2 boards, but
You've already been.
Oh, I haven't,
I
okay.
think you can sit on two,
we can sit on 2.
Just check.
can't you?
But when we have this many people, we like spreading the wealth. You know, yeah.
Okay,
Are we gonna send a letter to the people that,
all right. Have we, oh, we're still working on
We
that
can
one.
wait for the tally if you choose to. That's,
Yeah.
well, I meant for the people that aren't,
oh, absolutely. The ones that aren't selected, yeah, absolutely.
All right,
she's still. And none of us are offering to help.
It's okay. I have to just,
Sorry.
because this one needs, half of it did the alternate and half did the.
Oh,
ones that are-
yeah, that's 4 different votes.
And I believe it's customary to take the highest 4 and then make the decision of who your full-time versus alternate, if that's something you choose to do. Maybe more difficult to pick between full-time and alternate. That's a board decision.
Oh, I thought we were putting.
We
L
were,
or A.
we were, there was some questions on this in asking whether or not that was needed. So that's a board discretion, like all these
yeah,
positions
a lot of,
are.
the board normally, it's at their discretion to determine who's gonna be alternate or who's not gonna be alternate.
Okay, so if, for the, alternate that's straight across, we've got concealed. For the another full-time that is pretty straight across is Lance Campbell. So where it's kind of split, and this is gonna be your decision, which one you wanna do full, which one you wanna do alternate. It's gonna be Sarah Murphy and Gary Starnes. So,
Who's the other full-time?
so we've got,
Jim and Lance.
Campbell for, full-time, and then Jim Still for alternate.
He was
That was
alternate.
pretty straight across the board.
Okay.
But the one that's split is gonna be Sarah Murphy and Jerry Starnes.
Does that mean the mayor gets to vote?
Well,
It's up to you guys.
Because we have a spot for each of them, we need 4 spots, so I guess it's your decision which you wanna give alternate, which you wanna give full-time.
Can we send it back and vote on full? And then the second place gets alternate? What do y'all think about that?
Watch what we do, if we'll send it back and vote out 2 and put a F and an A or.
But we
whichever
only
one
vote
will.
for 1 full and 1 alternate.
Alternate, right, between the 2.
So the 2 names up right now are,
Jerry
Jerry Starnes and,
Virginia,
Sarah Murphy.
Sarah Murphy.
For
Want to do another
full
ballot?
or alternate.
yes.
Because they got the most votes, is that why you're taking
coming
most?
back to you.
So pick,
Because you got
Coming
they
back.
got the most votes left?
Am I,
Yeah, they have
am
the
I,
most
am I
votes
hearing Jim
left,
Steele
but
as an
it's-
alternate?
It's pretty split
Yes.
between which, like half and half, who are alternate.
See, in most cases, when you do these boards, they determine who the alternate's gonna be.
You're
So-
voting number 2. And
For
it's
Between Lance and.
for, no, Lance got it.
Yeah.
So you're talking.
Lance is in.
between Jerry Starnes
And Sarah.
And Sarah Murphy.
Murphy.
Put an F beside one and an A beside the other.
Okay.
Jerry's currently on ABC, right?
So now repeat who got on.
Okay. The two in question are Sarah Murphy and Jerry Starnes. Okay. So. You can stay with Jerry Starnes. Okay, you should be okay.
Now, what happened to Jim?
Jim is on. Jim is an alternate.
He is, okay.
From what I understand.
No,
No. Because we weren't gonna do this yet, because we were gonna cross off the people that got, you're on it?
In most cases, guys, your alternates are determined by the board members that you put in. But
Are we in, Board of Adjustments? We've always done it.
it should be done by the board, but that's a moot point now.
Now, who's the TDA?
So, Jim Steele got it, and Lance got it.
I mean,
And we don't know who the others, but the other,
I think she's still
oh,
tallying
Sarah,
that one.
who won the TDA?
We haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, you've done TDA, but it's gone down to,
no, we haven't,
No, no,
because we wanted to knock off the people.
they have it.
oh, you still have TDA? Okay,
No, we
We're
have,
Xing off the TDA,
okay.
I don't have a TDA.
Board of Adjustments and Planning.
you have two TDAs, because, what's that one right there?
That's my latest.
That's TDA.
Okay, I got it, okay. So now what are we doing now?
We're waiting to
We're waiting
see
on the
who
count.
got, well, I guess we don't have to wait. Yes, we do. We have to wait to see.
I've got Jerry Starnes for full member
who?
Jerry Starnes.
and Sarah Murphy for alternate.
So Lance Campbell and Jerry Starnes will be full-time members of the Board of Adjustments. Alternates will be Jim Steele and Sarah Murphy.
Very impressive.
Say that again, Shane.
Full-time members will be Lance Campbell and Jerry Starnes. Alternate members will be Jim Steele and Sarah Murphy.
And in all fairness, Board of Adjustments doesn't meet that much, so they could be on another board.
That's correct. There is a history there, presence.
The School of Government generally says they can be on two boards,
I think that's what our code says.
yeah, and anything more than that's not recommended.
Yeah.
ABC Board is next. One position for Susie Green. Susie Green was your one applicant.
Unanimous, was that unanimous?
We don't know yet. I have to ask them. We did not add a write-in area.
Yeah, there was not a write-in column.
You haven't gotten all the TDA yet.
Susie unanimous. So Susie Green is reelected to, or reappointed to the ABC Board.
She's served us wonderfully there.
Next is the TDA, one position at large for, currently occupied by Lance Campbell, 8 current applicants. I think that's what we're tallying now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our last will be BRAC. We have one position, Melissa Pickett. We have 2 applicants, Melissa Pickett and Sarah Murphy.
Who's Melissa Pickett? Who's Melissa Pickett?
Accept write-ins.
For TDA, we have,
Can't give me fingers.
for TDA, we have a tie.
Okay.
It's gonna be between Tim Knight and Tim Gupton.
Quick. Oh, I'm Sue.
So,
Yes.
What did you say?
Tim Knight and Tim
Knight and
Gupton.
Tim Gupton.
Tim Knight and Tim Gupton.
So please choose between Tim Knight and Tim Gupton.
Huh?
How can it be a tie with 5
I
names?
guess all of us like those two.
I don't know whose that is.
I guess all of us like those two.
Okay, that's the only way.
So now we're back to voting for one on either Tim Gupton or Tim Knott.
Okay.
Right, Mayor?
Yes. New math.
My guess would be 2 and 2, I guess, with that. Don't know. I'm afraid to say.
You looked at my,
I had seen,
you can't see nothing with your glasses.
We're just looking for our names.
I just looked for D.
Oh, gosh.
Use your thing again. Huh? One more for Brad.
I got one, but it's empty.
Right, somebody didn't fill out Brad.
I don't think I got a Brad. Oh, yeah, I got a Brad.
Do you have, how many
Just had
names
two
you
names
got?
on it.
You just said two names.
At the top.
Maybe me.
This one doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
Is that Albert?
Yeah, I've got Albert's, Sue's,
I knew about it.
David's, a nameless one.
Okay, Sue.
So between Virginia and Doug, I believe.
So you two don't have it.
And then he wants to go.
He's got one.
I handed mine in.
I think y'all are sleeping on it. What is this?
I forgot to sign
TDA?
it.
This is TDA.
TDA. TDA.
Multitasking.
I think the problem is down there with the lawyers, so.
Anything that goes through a lawyer's hands, you know they got it.
It's billable.
It's billable, right?
The instant voting. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
We elected to not use an
Oh,
app
yeah.
for this,
I don't like that.
given the most recent issues.
You probably, Jim.
There's no way to sign it.
Good night, Kim.
There's no way to sign it.
Right. It's anonymous, right? It can't be. Because everybody who didn't make it's gonna be here tomorrow morning. There's no way.
What did she?
Pressure's
So
on.
for, TDA, I've got the winner's gonna be Tim Gupton, and then, for, BRAC is gonna be Leslie.
Who?
For TDA is Tim Gupton,
Yeah.
and for, BRAC is Elizabeth.
She's new, isn't she?
No, no, who's that?
So I have for planning board, Wes Carter, Bill McCarter, and Pete Page. For board of adjustments, full-time Lance Campbell and Jerry Starnes. Alternates, Jim Steele and Sarah Murphy. ABC board, Susie Green. TDA, Tim Gupton. BRAC, Melissa Pickett. Correct?
All right. Do I have a motion to approve our new board appointees?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. I think David first, Sue second. Any discussion? Okay.
Thank you all for, this was a record, showing for people that were willing to serve, and thanks for everybody that put their name in. Great showing for the town, great support, we appreciate it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so be it. All right. Moving right along, Sunnyside CUP amendment. Mr. Rothrock, good evening.
This is an amendment to conditional use permit 2016-03 for Sunnyside Daycare. And Amber Fairbetter is requesting a minor amendment to the conditional use permit for Sunnyside Daycare to expand the daycare into the remaining portion of the building at 81 Valley Boulevard, which is beside Papa Joe's. The property is zoned general business. The current CUP limits daycare center occupancy to up to 30 children for this property. Ms. Fairbetter is requesting to expand that daycare into the remaining portion to allow up to 40 children. That third of the building, she's already using it for storage, and there's a restroom in there now, but we'd like to expand that. And then there's sufficient parking. This actually opens up some parking that was on that end of the building. And as they've been using the past several years, drop-off is in front of the building, and the parents can also park on the side. There are other requirements that they would have to meet with Department of Health and Human Services and also the building code, but most of those things have already been met. And this is just before you because the CUP was specific to the limit, and at the time, the other portion of the building was not available. So that's why that's before you tonight, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Guys,
Make a motion to approve as presented.
do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I was asked by a certain owner of a restaurant to inform Kevin that painting would be done on the exterior of that building when weather permits.
Sounds good. That's part of the CUP. It's included in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was, Amber let me know that he'd come over and had discussed painting the building.
I would like to have another hamburger there, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. All right.
Virginia?
We had, some of us were able to go to a breakfast this morning, and they're having some major issues with daycare, in Boone, and the reputation of this, Sunnyside is wonderful in the community, and I love seeing it grow and seeing them work with the town to make that happen.
Good.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so be it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving right along here. Doug McGill, Bass Lake Sidewalk Contract Award. Good evening, Doug.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm excited to talk about the Sidewalk to Bass Lake project. Again, we won't talk about the length of history that entails, but I will. We've got a brief presentation, which is all things that you've seen before. I feel like those photos look like they may be older than some of my kids of the renderings that were done a long time ago to show what the sidewalk's going to look like. If you'll look, the
Is that
sidewalk.
grass on the side, beside the sidewalk?
AstroTurf.
We'll see. The sidewalk will start at the edge of the Harlow's property on Main Street and run along Main Street to the corner at Speckled Trout, and then go all the way out 221 to the edge of the gravel parking area where you pull off now. And I'll show you that in when we get to that point. There will be a crosswalk in front of at the corner of Speckled Trout to go straight across where the Melon Mushroom is. There will not be open parking along the front anymore. There will be driveway cuts for going into the parking areas between Speckled Trout and Hartley's. You see the big wide expanse of asphalt at Green Street will be narrowed down to a standard entrance into Green Street so that the crosswalk won't be so wide. As you move farther along, there will be a retaining wall along 221 from this driveway to Miss Green's house all the way up. Let me back up because it shows it better here because I added red to it. So that section will have sidewalk from Miss Green's driveway up to the yard of the house on the corner at Green Street. And that section, if you look in the photo here, it'll have a wall with a handrail along the top. So when you're walking along the street, all you'll see is sidewalk and rail, just like you do on Sunset where we cross the creek at the culvert.
Is the same rail?
Yes, that is the intention. And the wall on the back side will be the same wall, essentially the same wall. May not be that exact block, but it'll be a gray stacked wall. As we go farther out, we'll be installing drainage along the entire stretch of the project. We'll be installing drainage to go, and curb and gutter to go along with the sidewalk, which will preclude folks from parking on the shoulder, which is not a parking area. And then the area behind, from Green Street around to the gravel parking area, at least particularly around the curve, that area will be filled in. So you'll have curb and gutter, sidewalk, and then it'll be a smooth transition to the cut slope there. And I know this is sort of small. This is the gravel parking area where the driveway that historic driveway goes back into the estate. That's where the sidewalk project will end.
Doug, will you explain why we didn't go past there? Because I think some people have questioned why we're not actually going to where the old iron gates are.
Because the Park Service wouldn't let us go farther because we get onto the historical property.
And then they'd have to drive over the sidewalk to park, right?
They wouldn't even let us redo the asphalt that's already there and put a stripe on it.
Does this, it's kind of weird how it's marked now, but there's a bike lane, right?
Yes.
So that's across on the other side of the street,
No, there's a bike lane on this side.
on both sides, and it allows for, the sidewalk allows for that?
If you look at the road now,
Yeah.
you've got a bike lane. We're going to put the front of the gutter on the concrete curb and gutter where the edge of the pavement is now.
Gotcha.
And then we'll have a sidewalk. So basically, if you can imagine, if this is where the edge of the pavement is now, we'll have a 30-inch curb and gutter and a 5-foot sidewalk.
And that's a.
And the asphalt will stay just where it is.
Okay,
And the bike lane will stay where it's at.
good.
So the project budget is $1.2 million, and that included $922,500 for construction and a $92,300 contingency to cover the construction cost of the project. That's funded by $980,000 EFLAP, or Federal Land Access Program grant that came from the federal government through DOT, with the remaining $242,000 funded by town funds that were part of the bond project, the 2014 bonds. We had a bid opening in December. The bids were well over budget. DOT told us they're far enough over budget, you can't negotiate, you've got to rebid. We talked to the contractors, the bidders, we changed a few conditions. Obviously, the timing changed. And we're building the project during the good part of the construction season, so the contractor is not worried about saying we want to start in January and they have to build it in the winter, which was one of the comments. So we made some changes, we re-advertised, we bid the project on January 30th. We had 4 bids this time instead of 2. The low bid was from Country Boy Landscaping for $976,959. Which allows us to fit it within the budget to award that contract, and that leaves about $37,000 for contingencies. And all the process has to follow DOT requirements. So their requirement for the next step is for the board to pass a resolution for the intent to award, subject to their approval. You should have that resolution.
Doug, if you would mention to council what the timeline is, what section will be done first.
What we've told the contractor is that we want the section on Main Street to be done first, so that it's done before the really summer season hits. We would like to say that we're going to start construction by the middle of March. After we jump through all the DOT hoops, we hope that that can take place. And this will take us through, I believe, October.
Oh, they think they'll finish in October?
May the 29th is the completion date for the Main Street section. And then
Oh,
September the 16th, I believe, is the final completion date. That's currently as part of the bid.
You say Maine now, that precludes anything on 221.
That doesn't mean they can't start on 221, but they have to have, it's a milestone. So they can work on the whole project, but they've got to have that piece done by the May date,
That piece defined.
being
that-
Main Street.
Okay. When you make the curve, that piece does not apply.
I can't remember off the top of my head where the line's drawn. I believe it's at the handicap ramp.
It is.
And if they don't do that, their surety bond is in effect, right?
Well, there would be liquidated damages for a milestone, just like we have liquidated damages for a whole project completion.
David?
When is the sunset date on the E-flat grant?
It's close.
No, I'm saying, we have to finish it before the.
Sunset date for the E-flat grant.
2021, wasn't it?
Ms. Norman? Ms. Norman? Do you happen to know when the expiration date on the E-flat grant is for Bass Lake? I know what it is for Middle Fork. I don't know if I know this particular date.
I'll say 2020.
She thinks 2022, so I think we're well within.
All right. Thank you.
We can confirm that.
The big issue was to get started
Yeah.
by a certain time, but it gives you time to prepare the project.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the bid?
Make a motion that we get started yesterday.
Second.
Do we have a second to approve the bid? Okay. Any further discussion?
I just want to thank everybody except me that's sitting up here, and Mr. Steele and McGill for everybody's tenacity with this. I appreciate it. It's been a long time coming.
Mayor, you gonna sign that right now?
Yes? Somebody will give me something to sign.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's gonna be the Sue Sweeting
Hey.
sidewalk.
And I might add,
Hillary's got my rubber stamp.
I might add the 242 was, as Doug mentioned, Mr. Chapman mentioned, was a part of Phase 4 for the bond issuance. So that money is earmarked for the match.
Yeah, so it's done. No additional funding for this. All right, moving right along. Parade discussion, Ms. Brown? Good evening, Ms. Brown.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The town sponsors 2 parades a year, one for the 4th of July and a Christmas parade during the Thanksgiving weekend. Our parades begin at 2 p.m. and are typically finished by 3 p.m. Each year, the visitors to our parade continue to grow. In 2019, we had over 30,000 people in Memorial Park attending our 4th of July festivities, which included the parade, and we had over 20,000 in Memorial Park for the Christmas parade. We currently allow cars to park on Main Street during the parades. In order to allow for more visitors, we would like to have no parking on Main Street during the parade time. We would like to move the parade time to 10 a.m., which would shorten the amount of time that there is no parking on Main Street, and it would allow us to block parking late at night and be opened back up before noon. The Tourism Development Authority sent out a survey to the Blowing Rock businesses asking what time they preferred the parades to take place, 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. The majority of the responses would like an earlier time for the parade, which would allow parking to be opened up for the visitors after the parade. I think in your packets, you also have the survey results and some of the comments that were made. So staff would like to have no parking on Main Street for the 2 parades and have the parades begin at 10 a.m. This would allow more room for viewers. We can put up a barricade to keep people from moving closer to parade participants, and parking would be open back up before noon for visitors to be able to shop and eat lunch.
We just approved Shriners for 2.
We did.
Are they aware that we're going to be changing this after their parade?
Yes, we will, part of their issue is they're kind of in the process already of planning their whole event. So to change this up on them right now, because they have ceremonials and things that we just had a meeting with them today about.
Okay.
So this is something that we can, I think
For
if they
next time.
know ahead of time, it will be easier for them to change.
Okay.
What's the day of the Shriners Parade?
June the
Second,
6th.
6th.
So this would go into effect with
July 4th.
4th of July and then Christmas, so
Yes.
2020.
Yes.
If we were able to get, something worked out, which we're gonna try and get done, about a couple of satellite parking places and having the apple cart pick up, maybe start picking up at 9 o'clock and dropping off uptown, can we get that sent out to everybody, all the applicants? 'Cause and if we get it passed, get it in the, make sure we get it in the paper and stuff.
Yeah,
When
and
we're
we could,
shutting down Main Street, we're gonna have to have some satellite parking, and we're gonna try and work very hard about getting Apple Cart to start early that day, and we'll have a pickup point and a drop-off point where they can come and drop the people off. And we'll try and, it's hard to get, traffic's gonna be hard of getting to Apple Cart and making 2 or 3 runs, but
yes. No, absolutely. We can put it on the website. We'll put it on our Facebook page. We put flyers up and stuff around town so we can make sure that, people know that there would be off-site satellite parking.
Thanks for reminding us.
We have a motion to approve the changes for the upcoming parades
I make
as
a
of July
motion to
4th.
Make the changes in the parade as presented.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Present.
okay. He's here. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Monthly financial reports. Ms. Norman,
It's June 6th.
good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As of the date of this financial report, January 31st, 2020, we are 58% into fiscal year 2019-20. 2019 property tax collections total to date $4,237,087. This is 97% of budget and is consistent with last year's collections at this time. So we are coming in line with property tax collections. Motor vehicle taxes for 6 months collected total $51,921. This is 61% of the budget, and that's about 3% above last year's collections at this time. Sales tax collections are collected 2 months in arrears, as a reminder. So for the 5 months collected, we have collected $872,717. This is 48% of budget and 12% above last year's revenue at this time. Building permits total $46,461, 93% of budget for the year. This is 20% more than last year at this time, so those are running well ahead. Zoning fees collected to date total $6,144. This is 61% of budget and 35% above last year at this time. Water service charges through 3 of our 6 main billings total $498,456. This is about 54% of the budget, and this is 9% above last year's collection at this time, consistent with last month's report. Sewer service charges through 3 of 6 main billings total $406,388. This is 53% of budget, 7% above last year's collections at this time. Water connection fees total $7,500 or 38%, while sewer connection fees total $11,747. This is 53% of budget, and those are both running well below last year. Of course, last year we were running well ahead due to the Enact Cornish project. Overall expenditures for the general fund total 51%, and this remains 3% below last year at this time, while overall expenditures for the general fund are at 57%. This is 16% above last year's spending at this point, and that is mainly due to the capital purchase of the tanker truck, which the budget amendment tonight should bring us back closer to in line for that. Overall revenues for the general fund are at 68%. This is about 5% below last year at this time, while water fund revenues are at 51%. This is 8% higher than last year in total. There are two departments that are running slightly ahead of budget. However, they still remain within budget, and they are due to debt service payments that are annual payments. So those sort of tend to make things run a little bit ahead of budget expectations, but not out of the norm. And then plant operations, of course, again, we're seeing the tanker purchase evident there. So just as a departmental note, with our year-end processing complete now, we are now turning our focus to budget activities for FY 2021. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Norman.
All right,
Thank you. All right, moving forward here. I just have one quick note. We're now at officials' reports and comments. As we all know, Harriet Devant passed away the other evening, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the Devant family. Ms. Devant was an icon in our community, and along with her husband and her son and her daddy. In the March meeting, we'll have a resolution. We're going to invite the family honoring Mrs. Devant. So that's Albert.
Shane, stop me if this is improper.
Stop it, Shane.
You have informed me of a traffic study. Is it proper to mention it?
Yes, it is. So we had much discussion, I believe, last month, and we've had discussions in prior months in regards to Green Hill Road, speeding, stop sign requests, things of that nature. So town staff has reached out to Ramey Kemp and Associates, a traffic engineering firm, locations in Charlotte and Raleigh and Asheville. They were on site yesterday on Green Hill, traveling the road, developing a scope of what that project may look like. Once that's received, that will be obviously communicated with the council on how to further proceed. So at this point, we don't quite understand the full scope of what they may be willing to do. They wanted to come up and put eyes on the road itself and take measurements and so forth. And so we're waiting on their results to be able to provide us with what that scope would look like, and then obviously a cost with that, with the regards.
One other quick thing, and I don't know who's, maybe you've seen that traffic light?
In Newton,
Yeah,
that cozy little place that's your birthplace?
yeah, it's so
Yes.
little anymore.
Yeah, I have.
I'm referencing your concern about updating Sunset and May intersection. And Shane has informed me, DOT informed him, if we have mast arms there, they have to go into the park for an extensive footing. And I don't think that's ever gonna work. I mean, we're
I
gonna
think
lose
it
part
depends
of it.
which one we pick.
Yeah, it's,
I don't think we've decided which one, and we need to look at the different.
what was DOT going to do on that?
Well, Kent Graham has failed me. I don't know what's happened to him because
He's in the back.
He's listening to you right
the
now.
city of Newton is spent $10 million redoing their downtown. And they've used these European traffic lights. Plus, you see them all over California. They're not on mast arms, they're on the corners. And that's what they've used. I have photos of them, and he's, at a point in time, I'll get those to us.
That'd be
to
great.
look at. Now, there's a question, does DOT accept them? Well, that's alternate North Carolina Highway 16 where they've been placed, just like we have. So
Good.
they're worth a look.
Yeah.
So this was fairly quick, I guess, in the last several days, and so we'll have something soon that we can show to everyone of what those look like.
And will we have some additional information from DOT?
We've asked DOT for some renderings. That's not something that they were willing to do initially, but we've asked that very nicely of them to provide us some renderings of what that may look like.
Okay.
That's correct.
Good.
That's me.
David?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Okay.
Doug?
The town manager and I will be attending an apple cart meeting and conference next Tuesday. Trying to ask for some of the things that we want to do here. One will be with the parade, trying to get some things setting up. So the conference is next Tuesday, I think, at the Blue Ridge Electric building for all the players in the game of apple cart. And they're gonna be doing a presentation of ridership and how they hope to move forward
taking a spear out of it.
Gene? Hillary? All right. Shane?
A few quick dates and location changes. So next week, we have the Board of Adjustments on Wednesday, the 19th at 5:30. And on Thursday, we have the Planning Board meeting at 5:30. Both of those meetings will take place at the American Legion Building. This room will be used starting later this week for early voting. So those meetings, both the Planning Board and the Board of Adjustments meeting, which is a continuation of the earlier meeting in January, will both be at the American Legion Building.
At the same time,
No, Wednesday for the Board of Adjustments at 5:30, Thursday for Planning Board,
Thursday.
19th and 20th
Okay.
of next week. I do have a letter here, for whatever reason, having technical difficulty. I have it on my phone, so if I may read it. This was sent to me today from Sherry Furman, and she asked that I read this. It's fairly short. To Honorable Mayor, in respect to Town of Blowing Rock Commissioners, Town Manager, and all those who serve our community, this is the month of February, most known for Valentine's Day, or the month for expressing sentiments of the heart. Having a business named Take Heart, it only seems appropriate to take this moment to express mine. As you know, on June the 26th of 2019, my store on Main Street was met with a devastating fire. I cannot even begin to express the emotions and feelings I had watching my dream and my life be consumed. What is more overwhelming than that is to see and experience an entire town come out to embrace me and love and support and stand with me in the days to follow. There are no words to express my gratitude to you and the community of friends that for this display of genuine heartfelt concern and the strength they've lended to me with their presence. I'm also abundantly grateful for those who serve our community. I want to thank in particular the Blowing Rock Fire Department, Blowing Rock Police Department, and the Watauga County Medics for their leadership, their ability, and their service to me and our town. Watching them the day of the fire, I could not escape the thought they choose this. They choose the uncertainty of the hour. They choose to walk into burning buildings and unknown circumstances to unselfishly lend their support, demonstrate their training, and often risk their lives for each and every one of us. So in this month of acknowledging those people in our lives that we are most grateful in our hearts, I wanted to publicly thank and express my deepest gratitude for each and every one of them who serve me and who will serve each of us so well. As I seek to rebuild my foundations, I take solace in knowing I am doing it in a place that's deep-rooted in commitment to each other. Sherry Furman. Sorry for that, a little difficult to read.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a 10-minute recess, and then we're going to go into closed session, and then we will adjourn the meeting after that closed session. Thank you guys for coming out this evening. Did you get it? Thanks, Cindy.